We are back. It's the Joe Holka Show presented by FanDuel. Week 12, main slate. 2 slates in 1 this week. Hope everyone's Thanksgiving was amazing. This is the big show. Nice to see everyone back with us. Obviously, an interesting week because we have everything going on in the beginning, and then it's major catch-up mode to get ready for the main slate. It was a good Thanksgiving for me. Went back home to Arizona. What's nice about being on the road also is you have a little bit more time to research and travel, right? So I feel very prepared even as late as last night. Woke up with a fresh mindset to get back after. It feels like a while since we've done this, not being able to do the Thursday afternoon live show, and then I guess I don't know, a little bit out of routine, but that's okay. This is one of my favorite slates of the year for that exact reason, right? Like a lot of people aren't going to feel as prepared as they normally do. So it's going to be a good one. We're going to have a bunch of stuff to give away today per usual. One of the things that I wanted to do a little bit differently this week, I actually forgot last week. If you guys, maybe some of you guys noticed, we've been giving away that $20 Amazon gift card to a random person that participates in the polls. I forgot to do that last week. There's so much stuff going on. So we'll make sure and do that this week. But also we have a different giveaway that I wanted to do in particular. So I'll bring you guys over there and just show you quickly. This is Twitter. Anyone ever been there? If you have, definitely toss me a follow. But what we're going to be doing today is if you retweet this main tweet, and the highest scoring main slate quarterback is 7,500 or below. There's a lot of good options, 7,500 or below. But one of the key narratives is that this is the week to pay down at quarterback. So, for example, Tyrod Taylor, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow, Tua, bunch of guys, Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy Garoppolo, all those guys are 7,500 and below on this slate. So if you retweet this and you're following me, you'll have a chance at a $100 Amazon gift card if that does happen. So thought I'd try something a little bit different on Twitter since we don't have a lot of the clips and stuff going this morning like we normally do. I wanted to try something new. Also, we do have a main slate listener league contest. So get in there, fanduel.com/Holka. I should probably pin this in the chat. That would probably make sense, right? I usually do that for us, but let's make sure I get that for everyone in here that doesn't like going over to the Twitter machine. That is totally cool. Mods, if there's any mods in the chat, can we take care of whatever that is? All right, let's pin that up. I suppose I could mute these people as well. All right, hide user, cool. All the bots. Let's pin this though too. All right, cool. So FanDuel.com/Holka, you'll get in there. We are almost certainly going to have overlay on this one just because it didn't even go up until Friday. Most of the time we're over 1,000 people by that point. What else is going on today? Oh, yeah. We are giving away some stuff from Pristine Auction. We have a Saquon Barkley jersey, as you guys can see behind me. This jersey, we will be giving that away. A Brandon Ayuk jersey was one of the ones that we pulled earlier in the season. And then we have the Lamar Jackson Funko Pop, which is absolutely amazing. Look at this thing. They tell me that I wasn't supposed to open it. So if anyone cares about that, maybe it's not the best prize, but I think this thing's awesome. So link not in the description. I keep forgetting to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and actually, no, there is a link in the description for this. I'm crazy. I didn't remember to do that. So that will get you into that. We will be intermittently giving those away throughout the stream today. But very interesting slate. Some may call it a very gross slate overall, but hopefully everyone in here is excited for this one. I definitely am. Couple people in the chat. First one I saw, Aaron1984, always the coffee emojis. Appreciate you, man. This is like my first sip, I think, of the day. Doesn't disappoint. Doesn't disappoint. So yes, I have the coffee in hand. Brandon Ricker's in here. Justin Ewell, Anthony Massey, Peter Reunions, Wayne Casey, Mikey Boy. What's up, Mikey Boy? Where's the link to his FanDuel contest? Down arrow. Yeah, it's right in the description, my man. But now it is also right in the chat. So hopefully that's helpful. Any weather concerns? Mikey Boy, that's a good question. I'm going to open up a weather tab here to make sure. I didn't hear about anything yet. I never check weather till the day of, so I'm going to make a note to make sure we touch on this. Who else is in here? Family Man's in here. What's up, Family Man? Joey Donnelly, Nate D, Wayne Bowman, Mike Yoakum, Dino. What's up, Dino? Frost is in here. How was your trip home? Trip home was great, man. Traveling is always a little bit stressful at times, and I get out of, obviously, the normal routine, but it's good, man. It's good to go see family and friends. It was fun to be able to play DFS in Arizona for the first time. I guess, how was everyone's Thanksgiving slate before we jump into it? Mine was like so I think maybe 10% win, 20% win, something like that. It was nothing even to write home about. It wasn't even like a 2X or anything like that. Got a little bit bailed out with some PMR that I had, but man, kind of a gross Thanksgiving slate. So nothing to write home about. But anytime you don't having losing slate, it's this survive in advance, boys. That's what it's all about. Oh yeah, the title. This stops 90% of DFS players from winning. Late Night Darren says not late swapping, single stacking, fading Jonathan Taylor. I would say not willing to be uncomfortable. But there's a lot of different things. We're trying out some different title stuff this time of year. But I kind of like that one. I was workshopping that this morning. There's a lot of things that I think 90% of DFS players don't do that they should. We'll say that. Joey Donnelly's in here. Luke's in here. Who else we got in here? Aaron Gould. Lundar. What's up, Lundar? Third and Long. Joshua McClintock. What's up, Joshua? Guyben. Luke. Chat is flowing. Love to see it. Winterbell. What's up, Winterbell? Love the we are back emojis in the chat as well. People asking about a lot of different Denver players already. Interesting. Minnesota San Fran shootout. Maybe. I do like that game. Yeah, we do have the original Slow Jam now, Casey Bone. I'm not sure what happened with that earlier in the year. We were getting some copyright stuff, but it works now, which is great. Ian Warner Comedy. What's up, man? How's it going? How's it going? All right, let's start this like we always do with a poll. You guys know which one we're going to do? Who is going to be today's highest owned player? The Week 12 main slate. Chris Godwin, CMC, Michael Pittman. Is it Miles Sanders? In a nice spot today at a cheap price tag. Not as many moving parts in that backfield as normal. Keenan Allen or other. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button or your vote will not count in here. Exclamation point vote, space the number in order to place that vote. What do you guys think today? Who's going to be the chalkiest player? It's always a good starting point, right? Because we have to get an idea of roster construction, all that good stuff. As you guys are voting, I want to make sure and go through a little bit of news that's been dropping here. Some Schefter bombs. Keep me posted on this as well, guys. Looks like Cordell Patterson, which is a big one, that ankle injury he's been battling through, is a game-time decision. It looked like he was trending towards playing, but we'll see. Elijah Mitchell, that finger injury, is expected to play. Somehow they found a way to protect that broken finger. That seems suboptimal to me, but we'll see. Who else in terms of this slate? Hunter Henry expected to play. Okay. Man, the Titans are in rough shape. Ramondre Stevenson, knee injury, expected to play. Damian Harris expected to play with that neck injury. Aaron Jones, this is a big one. There is optimism. Like, is there anything worse than a report that, like, hey, there's optimism that he could play? What a nightmare. Yeah, so that's an interesting situation because if we do get, I guess, the opposite of this, it is the afternoon game, right? So then A.J. Dillon, all the late swaps to A.J. Dillon. We'll see. Saquon Barkley is expected to play. Key member of this slate, of course, also giving away that Saquon Barkley jersey here shortly. So make sure you guys get in that contest. Link in the description for that. Ankle injury for him, but it does look like he will be in the lineup as expected. Nothing else that I'm seeing that looks crazy so far. But we'll keep an eye on news throughout this this morning. How's this poll looking? A lot of people think Chris Godwin's going to be the highest owned Week 12 player. It's not often that we get a wide receiver in this, honestly. It's almost always a running back, I feel like, or like a Stoneman tight end or whatever it may be. James Robinson, lock button, Family Man says, I almost included him on this poll, Family Man. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor will be the chalkiest. Have you tried to build a lineup yet? I'm not saying he's a bad play. I'm just saying there's no way he's the chalkiest. People are going to talk themselves into CMC, Devonte Adams, all in that price range, man. Like JT, yeah, coming off a massive performance. Like he's going to be owned, like more owned than he probably would be otherwise in this kind of tough matchup. Obviously, last week matchup didn't matter for him, but man, the prices gets very prohibitive here, and I don't love a lot of the value today. It feels to me like a little bit of a slate where little bit of a retro slate. Like I said, the narrative at least is that paying down a quarterback on the slate when we don't have a lot of these elite options. No Kyler, no Lamar, no Mahomes, no Josh Allen. Like, I get it, right? It does feel like that the value is a little bit thin. So even just like kind of keeping it middle of the pack, middle of the road in terms of salary, balanced approach in roster construction, I think makes a lot of sense today. But we will run the Sims here shortly and see what they think. But let's go ahead, and we got 95 votes in here. My goal is to get to 100 votes on every poll. Because if we're going to be giving away that gift card at the end, definitely want to make sure that the votes are flowing, guys. Costs you nothing, does help more people find the videos, find the channel, find the live streams. The other thing that literally takes absolutely no time is liking this video. Over 350 people in here, almost 100 likes. That's literally the single reason outside of a flowing chat that helps more people find our show on Sunday mornings, guys. So I would truly appreciate it. Let's check out the Sims, though. I'm curious what the Sims are telling us on this slate. RunTheSims.com/Holka. You'll get 10% off on this amazing tool where you can simulate the slate 10,000 times. Very useful to just get an idea of where ownership is, but also, like, I think it's great for roster construction, right? Like, what types of players are finding that optimal lineup most often is what it can tell us, and then what their ownership is as well. Tier 2 and Tier 3 members will get 20% off. So keep that in mind. Debo Samuel leads the way at 8K. 23.7% of the optimal lineups do have Debo Samuel in it. Christian McCaffrey, Devonte Adams, right behind him, basically right at that 25% or 23% optimal rate at a very high price tag. You guys remember last week? We didn't have a lot of expensive guys. Remember all the Chiefs guys, all the Dallas guys, like that game that everyone was all in on, when I know a lot of our community was kind of pivoting over to Vikings Packers just because they were performing so well in the Sims versus a lot of the Chiefs guys. It was kind of a slate where there wasn't a lot of great value last week either. This week, I kind of feel similarly, but still we're seeing CMC, Adams, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor popping in the optimals, but not a ton of ownership here. So what does that tell us? I think one of the things about this slate, especially when we're not looking at crazy chalk in really any direction, is that you really need to focus on really good players, especially like if there's going to be a situation where you're just looking at value, some sort of value metric, wherever it may be. If there's a difference between a guy that's popping as like the second or third best wide receiver value, but you can go down a tier and maybe pay a premium for someone that actually has a chance to break the slate, it does feel like that is going to be what wins this one, right? So when we're even just looking at ownership here, Christian McCaffrey at 13%, I think that's going to be much higher in a lot of contests. Dalvin Cook, some of the higher stake stuff on FanDuel, I believe he'll be much higher than this. But still, trying to find guys like Cordell Patterson, that injury concern obviously is going to be a big part of his ownership projection, but finding guys like Cooper Kupp at 9%, finding guys like Jonathan Taylor, we were just talking about, at 10%, in a game environment that we're definitely invested in, right? That Tampa Bay and Indy game is kind of interesting. So I wanted to start there today. Justin Gase, I don't think Debo gets any carries today. That's bold. He's been getting I think he's been having a ton of carries, almost every week. Debo's way too much. Why are you guys down on Debo? You guys are down on Debo against this Vikings offense that gives up a ton of big plays. I understand that pace is probably a concern here. Like, maybe this is a situation where we're limited on plays because both teams want to run the ball a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the San Francisco and Vikings players are absolute smashes, to be completely honest. But we can talk about that game in a little bit more detail here shortly. One of the other things that I wanted to kind of start with today is going through a little bit of game environment stuff. So obviously, we're looking at some of the highest totals, especially on FanDuel, and we really want to focus on touchdowns. So Tampa Bay, San Francisco, New England, Indy, Philly, those are the top team totals on the entire slate. LA Chargers not far behind. Also, in terms of pace, that Chargers and Denver Broncos game does look a little bit intriguing. I'm just always a little bit nervous on teams going into Denver, right? The elevation can be an issue at times. Tampa Bay and Indy, of course, highest total on the slate by a significant margin. Also, could be a pace-up scenario. The amount of pass attempts that we should see in that game, always against Tampa Bay. Obviously, them getting some key injured players back on the defensive side, pretty important. So I think we could see more pass attempts on both sides there. LA Rams at Green Bay, another decent spot. I think we'll see if we get Aaron Jones in that game. Hopefully we get some of that news this morning, but we're probably not going to get that until inactives come out. A couple games that I think have a chance to be slower paced. I'm willing to take a shot on Minnesota and San Francisco, but you can make an argument that that could be a slower paced game. Philly at New York Giants, Tennessee at New England. What do we do with Tennessee now, guys? There's going to be some guys that are going to be popping to optimals just because of how cheap they are. That just seems like a really gross game to me overall. So one of the things that I do always want to focus on too is what's happening at the line of scrimmage, which defensive lines are going to be giving these offensive lines a lot of trouble. And that's something that can really lead to inefficiency on the quarterback side. So I'm definitely looking into that a little bit. We've been playing a decent amount of Tua lately. Kind of a tough spot for him against this Panthers front that does pressure a decent amount. Eagles defense is something we're going to be talking about. I'm sure they're significantly underpriced, but really tough spot. Eagles defensive front against the Giants offensive line that impacts Saquon Barkley, impacts a ton of things. I also think that the Patriots defense is going to be able to get there at will against this Titans offensive line. Rams, Packers. Packers have some key injuries as well that they're battling through. Rams are going to be bringing a ton of pressure. The Eagles are kind of in a spot where they could dominate both sides of the line of scrimmage. So I definitely do like the Eagles today, and they're coming in at pretty low ownership overall. 49ers against the Vikings. The Vikings, they will bring pressure like we saw against Aaron Rodgers, but that 49ers offensive line has been pretty strong this year. So it's nice to have a little bit of a base talking through some of those situations, and we'll go through that a little bit more in detail here shortly. Iceman in the chat. What's up, fam? What's up, Iceman? Brady says Debo scores 2 TDs. I like the Debo play today. And that's coming from someone that hasn't played much Debo. Why is Tennessee's running back Hilliard popping in optimals? I mean, he's going to be the pass-catching back, my man, in great game script for a pass-catching back. That's what it comes down to. Probably a little bit thin for FanDuel. But, yeah, if you're in a spot where you just really need salary, there's a couple cheap running backs that we're going to talk about today. But let's go ahead and close this poll for now. I do want to do one fun poll before we get into quarterback. What's the best mystery box item that we're giving away today? We have that Lamar Funko Pop, we have the Saquon jersey, and we have the Ayuk jersey. Which one are you guys the most excited about for today? Which one would you like to win? Exclamation point vote, space the number. We're going to give this vote 30 to 40 seconds. I'm just curious. I've been saving that Ayuk jersey. This seems like a decent week to throw that one out there. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the Saquon one better. Actually, maybe I should zoom in. That makes more sense. So you guys can see Lamar stuff. Look at that little Funko guy. Those are awesome. I want to get more of those. How we doing today, chat? We got a bunch of people still filing in here. I will say this as well as we're getting ready to jump into the quarterback position. Before we get there, head over to my Twitter account. It is absolutely booming right now, so apparently you guys are listening. But I will be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card to one person who retweets this. This is my last tweet. It'd be easy to find. If a quarterback that's 7,500 or below on FanDuel is the highest scoring main slate quarterback today. So you have to follow to enter all the good stuff. I mean, honestly, going to take you 2 seconds. It's already 41 retweets on this. I'll be doing this tomorrow on stream. You do not have to be present for that one, but the ones for the items that we're giving away that you guys are voting for right now, those you do have to be present for. So the Saquon jersey is the one that you guys are most excited about. Okay. Fair enough. It's a sweet jersey. I've had it in my background for a long time. Pristine Auction sent me like an identical one, so figured it'd be a good day to give that away. All right, so let's wrap this up and let's move on to the quarterback position. We'll talk through some stacks and stuff along the way, but quarterback specifically, guys, this is a sub-only vote, so hit that subscribe button. Price considered. Who's the top quarterback today? We got Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tyrod Taylor. Again, we're taking into consideration price here, or other. Exclamation point vote, space the number. And then we'll run back over to the Sims. And I think that this is one of the more interesting quarterback slates we've had all year. I'll say that. We were just talking about it. If you've been kind of funneling in here, none of those normal kind of names that we're talking about. No Josh Allen, no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Kyler Murray. So it's like it's a slate where a lot of times we're trying to get up to that next tier because of the ceiling, right? But now, like, where are these ceiling quarterbacks? I don't know. You know what I mean? We have Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, of course, Justin Herbert. You can make an argument for these guys. I'm just saying we don't have those elite dual threat guys outside of maybe Jalen Hurts, but like Jalen Hurts isn't really getting a ton of love right now because there's not been a ton of volume through the air. What do you guys think? Top quarterback today. It's good to be back. I'll say that. Traveling's great. I'm going to be doing a little bit more travel throughout December. So definitely keep an eye out. Some schedule stuff's going to be changing throughout this month, but we'll keep everything on the rails best as I can. There will be probably one Sunday where I will not be here. So I'm thinking about, and let me know what you guys think about this. I'm thinking about doing like a live TikTok live stream. So something like this, we won't have the polls and stuff. It'll be a little bit shorter, but I want to make sure that like we still get the chat together and do something, right? So I'm thinking about doing it on TikTok for the first time. We got like 60,000 followers on TikTok. I haven't been using it very much and have never gone live on that. So I might try that out for the week that I'm actually not at my desk, but we'll see. Quarterback looks a little bit flat in the votes right now. Not a lot of strong feelings at quarterback. Let me check out the chat here. David, just so you know, if you want to vote for other, you have to put the name of the player on the next line or it won't register. But David's all over Kirk Cousins. I like the Kirk Cousins call. Again, I love that game. Adam Miller, you know I enjoy some Kirk. Is Kirk Cousins going to be more popular than people think? I'm seeing a lot of Cousins in the chat right now. Unless your name's Will McNeil. He says, how do you not play Brady and move on? Yeah, man. Brady's a great play. One of the things that I'm always kind of considering when looking at the quarterback position is these teams that are passing at a really high rate above expectation, right? So over the last 4 games, this is a very predictive metric when you're trying to figure out your stacks, right? You need pass attempts, you need all of those things. Tampa Bay, LA Chargers, LA Rams, New York Jets, top 5 pass rate above expectation teams over the last 4 games that are on this slate. One of the other things that I really like to look at, pass rate above expectation in the red zone. Tampa Bay still number 1. But Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta in the top 4 for the red zone pass rate above expectation. So we'll see where like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and company end up on this slate. I do have some interest in that as well. Looks like a lot of Brady love in the chat right now. Over 100 votes. I will be giving away that $20 Amazon gift card for the voters here that are live. So definitely check that out. So we're giving away a bunch of Amazon stuff today. We're giving a bunch of stuff away from the Pristine auction stuff per usual. So I'll just leave this poll up so more people can get in there that are trickling through. But let's start with Brady. Obviously, all the pass rate above expectation stuff I just mentioned. And again, none of these guys at the top end. No Lamar, no Josh Allen, no Kyler Murray. I guess Dak as well. I keep forgetting about Dak. So it's pretty tough. I know there's going to be this question later, Ian. Tom Brady, I think it's pretty clearly probably the top scorer on the slate if you're talking quarterbacks. So definitely like that quite a bit. On FanDuel, pretty easy to get him in terms of the salary. But if we're just looking at the Sims, this is what I really wanted to talk about. So at quarterback, our most optimal, or someone that has the highest frequency in the optimal on FanDuel, is actually Jalen Hurts. 8,400, 8% ownership, 13% of the optimals. That's not a huge number by any means. It is pretty condensed with some of these studs at the top. But here's the thing. We don't see a lot of quarterbacks up here. We got Jalen Hurts. We're still scrolling. We're still scrolling. We're still scrolling. We got to go all the way down to 7% frequency until we get to Justin Herbert at 7,800. And we got Jimmy Garoppolo, whose price tag on FanDuel, guys, like we'll get to it in a second, but that's pretty ridiculous. 6,500 for him in this spot against Minnesota, 7% of the optimals. Tom Brady at that 8,200 price tag is basically the 4th highest frequency. It's not that you can't play Tom Brady. It's just like this is kind of what we're looking for at times where they might be slightly overowned, or it's just telling us this is kind of just a gross quarterback slate overall. I kind of defer to the latter, but definitely something to keep in mind as we kind of go through this. But Justin Herbert, we talked about him being the 2nd highest frequency in the optimals right now. The Chargers are playing extremely fast. We talked about that game being a pace-up game. Just going into Denver, not the easiest thing. But tons of amazing weapons. Obviously, we're going to see Keenan Allen be extremely chalky on both sites. The Broncos' defense, I think, is okay. I don't think it's an elite defense by any means, but still think the ceiling should be intact for Justin Herbert, especially when we're looking at some of the other options on this slate overall. So I like him quite a bit. Another guy that I didn't put on this list, but let's talk about like Tyrod Cam Newton, those type of players. Cam Newton's extremely expensive on FanDuel. That's why I kind of didn't include him. But man, that red zone role that he has is it's going to give you like a pretty crazy floor. But also if he ends up throwing a couple through the air, we know the weapons are finally all healthy, right? So we have DJ Moore, CMC, Robbie Anderson. I don't think a lot of people are going to be stacking up Cam. So I think it's at least interesting from a contrarian standpoint. And then in the Sims, Christian McCaffrey's second highest optimal rate, 23.5%, significantly higher than his ownership at 97%. If we're talking McCaffrey, Adams, Cooper Kupp, I do prefer McCaffrey today in a vacuum. So permission to play CMC. Joe Jurich, what's up, brother? Joe Holka show, still the best in the biz. I appreciate that, man. Go Bulldogs. Never that. I get along with the Bulldogs. We like the Bulldogs around here. The Bulldogs and the Huskies, we're cut from the same cloth, I'll tell you that. Just never the Gophers, never the Fighting Sioux, please. For the love of God. Rob Bailey says, Jimmy G's the same price as Lance. Lower than an injured Jets could be. Wow. Yeah, for us, 60K followers on TikTok, my man. TikTok. Yeah, TikTok's that's awesome. It's just so hard to like prioritize that when like we're focused on the main show, you know what I mean? And people are not nice on TikTok, man. But we might try a live stream at some point this month, so keep an eye on the Twitter. Matt Ryan from Creative Thinker. That's interesting. Cam Newton's going to be over-owned based on last week? Maybe. Flash, what's up? Permission granted, yeah. Just Brady double and move on. Who are you going with your double? Will McNeil has a lot of very absolute takes today. He's got all the answers to the test, so make sure you guys are tailing Will in the chat. He's throwing out some sharp stuff. All right, so let's move through this. Jalen Hurts, for kind of the same reason that we liked him a little bit 2 weeks ago. It's like the regression, I guess the progression, whatever. I don't know. People trash me for saying regression when I'm talking about positive things. But the touchdowns on the ground are going to come, right? 18 rush attempts last game, 14 the time before. The floor is completely insane. Even if he doesn't throw a touchdown pass through the air, Jalen Hurts could be an absolute smash on FanDuel this week, in my opinion. If he's not going to be owned, I really like the idea of building around. So here's another scenario that I've been working through in my head. I'm not sure what I'm exactly going to land on my main team. And if anyone's new to the show, we kind of focus on a lot of smaller field contests here. So like 500 people and below. So correlation becomes extremely important at that point. So I'm considering Minnesota, San Francisco players, of course, some mini correlations, or just biting the bullet with a really cheap Jimmy G. If I don't go that route, one of the things I'm considering is having a pretty heavy mini stack of that Minnesota, San Francisco game, and then skinny stacking Jalen Hurts with either Dallas Goddard or Devonta. So, but Goddard in particular has caught my eye a little bit. He's looking very strong in the Sims, 5,900. 14% of the optimals. You don't see tight ends this high in the optimals very often. Normally it's down here. It's pretty muddled, right? Or it's like a Travis Kelce slate or one of those type of situations. But 5,900, his role is just way too good to be priced where he's at. And I think one of the problems, obviously, is the volume through the air. But if we see any uptick in volume, not only does it help Jalen Hurts hit his ceiling, but it also helps Dallas Goddard, who's had a pretty incredible role in terms of his routes run and the area of the field that he is getting targeted. So I do like Dallas Goddard skinny stacks quite a bit with Hurts at lower ownership with some of the chalkier minis if you don't want to go all the way up to Brady or you don't want to go all the way down to Jimmy G. It looks like the poll slightly believes me. 20 votes for Hurts so far. Tyrod 6 go. So you guys aren't going the Tyrod route. Tyrod's kind of expensive now. Last week, I think, was the week that it might have been time to play him. I know we talked about him on the live stream. I personally didn't pull the trigger. I ended up going with a full Green Bay, Minnesota stack on my team, my main team. I only played one team last week. But, yeah, I think that Tyrod's in play for sure for the same reasons. Would you double tight end with Goddard and Kittle? I rarely do that unless it's late swap. I just, if it all costs, I just prefer to play one tight end versus two. So no, that would probably be a team I would not have Kittle on. Would I stack Cousins or Jimmy G for the savings? Honestly, I would prefer Cousins, but Jimmy G's price is just completely absurd. So it almost forces your hand there. If you're going to be stacking that game heavily, I think it is Jimmy G. Unfortunately. it's always nice. Like people talk about how condensed the Minnesota Vikings offense is, and that's very true. That's why I play them probably more than most people. But it's also great for mini stacks because you can bring it back not just with one piece, with two. You can bring it back with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. That's what I did last week. Or you can go even just Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Just hope that Dalvin doesn't run 3 in. You know what I mean? Because you know it's going to be extremely condensed. There's so much value in that. Eli Mitchell or Sanders. Oh, Miles Sanders is a phenomenal play today, guys. Phenomenal play today. Let's actually just move. Let's keep this moving. Let's go to running back next, because I think that we'll continue to talk about these quarterbacks and the stacks along the way. The running back position, top elite running back, price considered. So I'm saying these are like some of the top plays at running back. I'll say. What are we on? Miles Sanders, Dalvin Cook, CMC, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, or other! Vote space the number to place that vote. I do want to remind you guys to get in the listener league, fanduel.com/Holka. It did go up much later this week because of Thanksgiving. We had one as well. So make sure you guys get in there. It's rake free, 3 entry max, only $5. Some big prizes though. Where we at a quarterback this week, or running back this week? I'm out of it, guys. I got more marbles in my mouth than normal today. What's that all about? Maybe it's because I'm like just now getting the coffee in me. The sauna was glorious, though. If you guys remember earlier last week, my sauna was closed for like 6 days. It's the first time I've been back in there in a while. Felt great. Running back position. Where are we at? We got almost 600 people in the chat right now. This is amazing. So you see this like gradually go up, right, throughout the afternoon. The reason for that is a lot of you guys took a half second to like the video. It really does work. I don't ask for it for no reason. It's like the single easiest way you can help more people find the show. I do truly appreciate it, guys. Thank you. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to lurk, that's fine too. Just being here, it is more than enough. Danny P says JT is going to be sub 10% owned again. Yeah, probably. It's not easy to build JT teams. Have you tried? It's brutal. It's not easy, especially if you're trying to get in one of CMC and Adams also, right? It's just like, you got to go mega stars and scrubs then, and there's just not a lot of great value. No JT in the poll. I did not include JT in this poll. I try and include players that I think are going to be a little bit higher owned in these polls. But if you want to go place your vote for JT, just do the other, man. Easy game. Try to stack Brady with JT. It's impossible. Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's not easy. We were building some Tiltspace teams a little bit earlier this week, and we did build a Tom Brady double stack with Jonathan Taylor coming back. We'll see what we land on. We always build those teams closer to lock, though. Tiltspace, by the way, has been just a blast lately. So we've been on a little bit of a heater, so make sure you guys join us for that on the ETR channel later on today. Come hang. Is Sanders as good of a play on DK? I mean, Sanders, we don't talk about DraftKings stuff really, but just the role in general for Sanders is something that is extremely, it's different than normal, right? So normally this team, like they just literally share the wealth everywhere. But now, like, they're just so banged up, and this Giants team is just not good, right? So, with Jordan Howard out, I think Miles Sanders is still an amazing play, wherever that may be. In Hurt stacks, is there anything worth bringing back on the Giants side? Yeah, I think there is. I think it's Saquon. So we can talk about Saquon for a second. So Saquon Barkley, these are these situations, right, where we would not be getting this price tag if this was a completely healthy Saquon Barkley, of course, right? But if we just go over, we haven't gone over at all to the screener here. I'm going to turn these colors on because I like the colors. We're just talking points per dollar at the running back position. We've got Dontrell Hilliard, 5,500. I mean, the pass catching in this game script makes a lot of sense. But if we look down here, it's really hard to project Saquon Barkley right now, right? But if we're just looking at his ceiling, so like 7,500 Saquon Barkley at his normal workload, which is going to be coming eventually, we just don't know when it's going to be. I kind of just want to be early on Saquon, right? You pay that risk just to be early on Saquon. And on this spot where, like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Finding these guys that project slightly worse in point per dollar. But like, what's the big difference? Like, let's take out some of these top guys. What's the big difference between like Leonard Fournette at like a 2.16 point per dollar or so, and going up to Saquon Barkley at like a 1.78. Like, it's really not that different. But this is like taking into consideration like what the role has been lately, right? Not what it could be once he gets fully healthy. So I think that Saquon is one of those guys that makes a lot of sense. The Sims don't necessarily agree with me. I'll say that. So I was hoping that he would pop a little bit higher in this. So Saquon Barkley is all the way at 8.8%. Optimal rate at 7,500. So he's kind of around like that same range as some of these elite wide receivers like Jefferson and Jamar Chase that are going to go extremely low owned. Like, why does no one play Justin Jefferson, by the way? Makes no sense. Jamar Chase as well. But it's much easier to justify getting to some of these other guys. I'm with you. Ownership-wise, though, like it does look like people are going to figure out ways to get to CMC. But Dalvin Cook, again, just looks severely underpriced on FanDuel, in my opinion. So he's kind of like my priority right now. 8,100 for him. Fournette, I think, is interesting too. We know that they have the highest team total on the entire slate. Indy can give it up. Austin Eckler coming off a huge game in prime time, I think is going to be pretty popular as well in this LA Chargers and Denver game where it could be paced up. Miles Sanders, though, this is just the price, right? 6,100 against the Giants. He just makes a lot of things work with teams today. So that's kind of why I like a little bit of the leverage with like a Hurts Goddard, and then maybe you leave Miles Sanders out. I've been a pretty big proponent of playing these running backs with your stacks. I don't know if I would do that with Philly, though. And I think it makes a little bit more sense on a non-rushing quarterback, or a non-elite rushing quarterback. I think it's a pretty significant negative correlation with Sanders and Hurts. It's a little bit different than like adding Fournette to your Brady stacks, in my opinion. So I think I'm just going to take the leverage there if I do end up going the Philly route today with Hurts and Goddard or Hurts and Devonta. And that would be a team where I would probably go a different direction at mid-price running back. Maybe go with like Gaskin, something like that in mid-range. All the bots today. What is that all about? We're hiding all the bots. Hammering Justin Jefferson today for Justin. Love it, man. Would you go Sanders or Hurts? I think that's the key, or for me. Value back today. Stevenson, Javonte Williams, Denver going to try and slow the game down. Maybe, yeah. I still think that like they would love to slow the game down, but are they going to be able to with the Chargers? I don't know. I do like Javonte a bit. These like young running backs, rookie running backs, off the bye later in the season. Like sometimes you would think that they like if they're going to go like kind of reevaluate what their offense is all about, you'll see that like Javonte has some juice, right? So those are the type of situations like Cam Akers last year. Those are the type of situations that make sense later in the season to take some shots on. So yeah, I think Javonte for me. Who else in this poll? The one guy that I didn't include in this poll that I probably should is James Robinson. Does appear to be completely healthy. So did get a full practice in towards the end of the week. And this is more of like a Falcons play versus like a James Robinson play, in my opinion. So 7,600 for James Robinson. He does have a pretty nice ceiling. He actually has the 8th highest ceiling at the running back position at just 7,600. So that's not bad. Massive favorite against this Falcons team who's just not good, right? So like play everyone against the Falcons has worked out pretty well over the last few weeks. CMC, I guess we didn't talk about CMC a ton versus Adams versus Kupp. Again, I do prefer CMC versus those guys if you're just picking one, which is a little bit scary. But honestly, like it's nice to be able to get a guy that people might be a little bit worried about his touchdown projection just because of Cam Newton potentially stealing some of that along the way. I'm not as worried, right? Like we saw CMC absolutely thrive with Cam before. This is like when they first implemented like this CMC type of offense, right? Like Cam was there. So we weren't worried about it then. 9,700. I still think that Christian McCaffrey, anytime I can get Christian McCaffrey at under 10K, I'm going to be paying attention. Highest ceiling on the slate, highest floor on the slate for the running back position versus these wide receivers where I think you can, obviously Devonte Adams against Ramsey. I mean, Devonte Adams can win in any matchup. We know this at that point. Cooper Kupp is extremely expensive at 9,500. Again, Cooper Kupp, someone I probably haven't played enough of this year. We've talked about that. But I think I still prefer McCaffrey. In terms of the Sims, they do have Adams pretty much right there. So pick your poison with that. If you did want to save 1,000 and go down to Adams, I don't think it's terrible. What's difficult about CMC is, again, I mentioned that like one of my priorities today is getting as much Dalvin Cook as possible, and it's tough to play them both. it's definitely tough to play Jonathan Taylor on with one of those other guys. So it's definitely it's an interesting kind of situation roster construction wise for sure. Is CMC a lock? I mean, I think CMC is an amazing play. I don't know how else to say it. Let's do this, guys. We were just talking about Christian McCaffrey. We were just talking about Saquon Barkley. We got both jerseys in the studio. I will not be giving away my CMC jersey today, though. But the Saquon jersey we are going to give away right now. So let's spin the wheel. It's been too long since we've spun the wheel here. You have to be here to vote. So if you are picked, spam the chat because I'm going to make this move a little bit quicker because I know there's a ton of names here. Some of these people might not be here live. Saquon Barkley jersey. Who's it going to be? CRF722. Where are you at? Are you here? I'm going to keep spinning. CRF is the first one. I'm going to make a note of that just so I remember it. Will McNeil. Will McNeil, are you CRF? Ambrose is our number 2. Will, are you trolling me? CRF, are you here? Ambrose, are you here? For the Saquon Barkley jersey. I'm going to keep spinning. Spam the chat if it's you. I want to get through these a little bit faster. It's just not easy with all these names now, which is great. It's a great problem to have. Max Hawaii 22. Will McNeil is not CRF. Max Hawaii. All right, we're going to keep spinning. I'm writing down these names as we go so we can spin a little bit quicker here. Family Man says Jags defense for all the money. Interesting. Maloney. Ryan Maloney, are you here? A lot of people missing out on the Saquon jersey just by not being here on a Sunday. Imagine not being here on a Sunday. Keep spinning. So many names on this that it's... Maybe I should figure out a different way to do this, but... Kudzu, are you here? Kudzu. Are you here live, Kudzu? Let's keep going. We'll just keep spinning, and I'll jot these down, and then if we don't get someone... We'll just move on. We'll move on to the next position and circle back to this one. Merly P. Merly P, are you here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 names so far. Family Man, can't imagine not being here. Love it. What a guy. How do you become entered? There's a link in the description, Alex. How do you get in this pool? There's a link in the description. It's like a little Google form. Very easy. Takes like 2 seconds to register and all that. Completely free. Derek Kohler is here. Let's go. Which one were you? What's your email, Derek Kohler? Which one would have just popped? I do have them jotted down. But it looks like Derek is here. Still have the small wheel? I have the small wheel for the... I have the much smaller wheel for the Amazon gift card at the end. Where the hell would you be besides here on a Sunday? I don't know, man. Let's see. Oh, Derek Kohler said he's here, but he's not in the poll. I was pump faked. I was absolutely pump faked. All right, we're gonna do one more wheel spin here, and then we're gonna get back to wide receiver. We'll circle back to this though. Apparently, no one wants the Saquon jersey. What a troll. Holly Miller, are you here? Spinning one more time. And then we're moving on for right now. M. Goodwin. M. Goodwin, are you here? All right. We're going to move on. We'll keep spinning. We'll keep spinning. Let's go ahead and close this poll, this running back poll that we had. Looks like CMC did win that one. Let's complete that. Let's start at the top end of wide receiver. Who's our top elite wide receiver in week 12? Who is it? Who is it? Top elite wide receiver on the week 12 slate. This is a sub-only vote, so if you're here for the first time, would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. You'll also be able to get your votes counting on the back end. Exclamation point vote space the number in order to place that vote. These folks really pee me off not being here. Hey man, it's all good. You could do a poll, I'm here, and pull those names. Could do that. I feel bad for us because I said that if you entered, you were in for the rest of the year, right? So it's like this weird thing where it's hard to grab names live, and also, I don't know. There's no easy way to do it. I'll say that. I've tried a bunch of different things this year. So I hate saying that you'd be in the drawing for the rest of the year and then I change it. But yeah, maybe we have to figure out a way to like boost the people that are here more often, like live. There's got to be a way to do that. I don't know. I'll give it a little bit more thought this week. A lot of Debo love in the chat right now. So as you guys are voting for this, we'll remind you, since we do have something a little bit different today, if you haven't been here the whole time, on my Twitter account, if you go and retweet this tweet, final thoughts, this tweet, and if the highest scoring main slate quarterback is 7,500 or below, a lot of pretty solid options below 7,500 this week, I'm going to be giving one person who retweets this and follows me a $100 Amazon gift card. So far, we got 64 people in here. So it's not a huge amount of people that you got to beat. So we'll keep that in mind. We got a lot of Debo love here. If you're in the rest of the year and you have to be here to claim it, wouldn't the same as polling the live viewers? That's true. You'd have to vote today to enter today's drawings. We could do that. I'm going to give it some more thought. I hate spinning the wheel 100 times, guys. I know it's like wasting your guys' time. So we might have to pivot. It's all about finding the best way to do things, right? Sometimes you just got to change things on the fly. Could switch to a voter. Ooh, that's a good, Mancini, that's a really good idea. I'm going to write that down. So Mancini's saying we have like the main spin the wheel. We do it like 3 times or something. And if not, we have a separate wheel where it's just the people that are there live. Get in that. I like that idea a lot. See, we worked through this. 2 wheels. Live wheel and non-live wheel. I'm literally writing this down. It's a great idea, man. See, I don't have all the answers. All right. We're here for the pivots. Yeah, there you go. All the pivots. So Debo Samuel, guys. A lot of talk about Debo. What I really like about the way that San Francisco has built this wide receiver core in general is these guys are elite tackle breakers, right? So just because Jimmy G is Jimmy G doesn't mean he can't be viable for fantasy in the right spots. I kind of think this might be one of the right spots because Minnesota really struggles to defend big plays and after the catch. This is a really tough spot to have that type of defense, right? So I haven't played Debo much at all this year. This seems like a really interesting spot to do it. The Sims agree, for the record. Debo Samuel is actually the highest frequency in the optimal lineup on the slate. He's 8K. He's not free. He's definitely not free. It's really hard to like wrap your head around like Debo versus Dalvin Cook, like at that same range. But man, his floor is just so safe because of the rushing ability or the rushing attempts and volume that they give him. Maybe that changes a little bit with Eli Mitchell being back. But honestly, like having a wide receiver that's getting that type of, it's like the Cordell Patterson thing, right? Like the floor and ceiling, if everything breaks right, is just massive. It's like you can make an argument that we still haven't seen the ceiling. That's what's crazy about the Debo Samuel play. There's so many more outs to him even having like a reasonable game. Yeah, Minnesota's like they're missing. That's a good point, Alex. Like Minnesota's missing some people on defense too. So yeah, I think Debo's a great play at the top end. Like a lot of people want to talk about Keenan. Keenan hasn't been that great against Denver this year, or like in general, guys. Like in Denver, it's not this like smash spot. One of my like, he's still popping the Sims. He's popping in projections. All of those things. Like I prefer Keenan Allen on a site where like touchdowns aren't as like important. Like at that price point, let's just go to the screener for a second. So at wide receiver, if we're talking ceiling, Devonte Adams, Debo Samuel, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, Chris Godwin, Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, then Keenan Allen, right? So at that price point, we want touchdown scores, right? We want Justin Jefferson in there. We want Cooper Kupp in there, Jamar Chase in there. Even some guys below him, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen. These guys score touchdowns. So I have a really hard time playing like wide receivers that are going to be 28% owned in general, right? Like that's just something that mentally is really hard for me because there is going to be always like a lot of volatility at the wide receiver position, right? So I'm not saying you can't play Keenan Allen. And if you are playing Keenan Allen, I would definitely try and figure out ways to get different with your roster across the board. I just like, this is the exact type of wide receiver that I rarely play in tournaments. Right or wrong? Cash games, sure. Play him in there. I guess I don't play cash games. So yeah. That's kind of my take on Keenan. So Devonte Adams, like we already talked about him a little bit as well. Like definitely not a nut spot for him. But man, just where he's used. We talked about pass rate above and below expectation. In the red zone, Green Bay is another one of those teams that throws a ton in the red zone. And a lot of that is those like design plays they do for Devonte Adams. So he's great. Cooper Kupp, again, like in that same game, both of those guys make a ton of sense. The ceiling, sky high. One thing that I did want to kind of do though, let's go to the rangefinder for a second. This is like one of my favorite tools to like go through different 2v2s and stuff like that. So let's go Stafford, Kupp versus Rodgers, Adams. And I don't know if a lot of you guys are considering this specific 2v2. I just want to show you guys kind of how you can use this tool because it gives you the whole range of outcomes. It gives you the ownership. It gives you the salary, all of that stuff, right? These combinations. So anyone in the chat that can ask me this guy versus this guy, like this is what I would do. Like you have to look at it like based on this, right? So the salary for Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams is actually significantly lower than Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, but the win rate much higher. The floor's only slightly higher, but the ceiling, the 90th percentile outcome, is actually much higher for Rodgers and Devonte versus Cooper Kupp and Stafford. I ran this one earlier today and it surprised me, so I want to show you guys. What tool is that? Glad you asked. This is runthesims.com. And if you go to runthesims.com/Holka, you can get 10% off. Our tier 2 and tier 3 members get 20% off. It's the same slate or the same site that we're using for the Sims. So simulates the slate 10,000 times, all that good stuff. So we can kind of take into account all the different game flows, all the different things, and do it in seconds, right? It's a lot better, in my opinion, than just looking at straight projections. So we'll keep an eye on that. What else we got in here? Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I mean, you guys don't need me to tell you that Cooper Kupp is a great play. Let's talk about Chris Godwin for a second. So with AB out, Mike Evans, still kind of battling through that back injury, right? So that's kind of concerning. There's really the argument of like Godwin versus Keenan, I think is an interesting conversation to have. Like Godwin's 7,600, Keenan Allen is 7K. I think I prefer Godwin just because I would prefer to have access to that Tampa Bay game. And the one thing that I guess I would pause on a little bit is that Indy has really struggled to defend these perimeter wide receivers. So in theory, Mike Evans. Doesn't mean that Chris Godwin can't get there. He's going to project extremely well. Both guys are great. You can double it. You can do all of those things. But I guess Mike Evans is going to give you a little bit of an ownership discount, mostly because of the injury. I guess I hadn't considered that as much. But I loved the Mike Evans play basically all week when I started looking at the main slate. So we keep that in mind. Deontay Johnson is an interesting one. I know he's not in our poll. But obviously Juju, Ebron, both out still. Like Johnson has just been a target monster. 6 of his last 8 games, he's had 12 plus targets. So that's a pretty crazy workload from a wide receiver at that price. Where did he end up in the Sims? I'm actually curious. Let's check that out. Deontay, 12% of the optimal lineups. That's a pretty high number, guys. The ownership is a little bit heavy for my taste. But yeah, I mean, it's a volume play for sure. I think I prefer Freiermuth, like just in a vacuum, because I think he's like the touchdown scorer in that offense if I'm like trying to find a one-off. And I rarely like play these like super high-owned wide receivers as one-offs. But it is interesting. What are some others that we had in this this poll? I wasn't paying attention. I need to scroll up. Love Pascal as a bring back. Yeah, I'm definitely team Pittman, but Pascal makes some sense. Much cheaper, much lower owned. Brady says, let's build some lineups. We could build a lineup. Should we see if it's possible to do a Brady and JT team? We haven't built a team yet. So let's go ahead and do that. Why not? It's a great idea. See, I need you guys to direct me a lot. Need all the help I can get. This is the Listener League. FanDuel.com/Holka to get in there. It's rake free. We are about half full. Let's refresh this. Let's see where we're at now. We are at 55% capacity right now. So there's going to be some overlay in here. So $5, 3 max, rake free. Let's see what we can do with a Brady team. I really kind of want to figure out if it's even possible to bring back JT with this, though. So we're just talking about maybe this is a fade Godwin team. So maybe we go Evans and Gronk, something like this with JT. 5,600. Look at this does to your salary. So let's figure out a cheaper defense to go with here. I do love the Philly defense, but man, like getting to that mid-range is not the easiest. If you wanted to go down at defense, you could probably make an argument for maybe the Chargers down here. I think that's totally fine. There's a couple other cheaper ones that I was considering, maybe Cincinnati against Pittsburgh, if we're going to fade that situation. Let's go with that for now just to see where this would lead us. So right now we got 6,100 the rest of the way. The problem with this is we got all 1 p.m. players, right? So in the afternoon slate, we have that Chargers and Broncos game. We have the Vikings and San Francisco game. And then we have the Green Bay and LA game. So I'm curious if we can get in like a mini stack from Minnesota. So let's toss in Brandon Ayuk. I can never spell his name. There we go. 6,300. Of the Vikings guys, I was kind of ready to ramp back up my exposure to Adam Thielen if there was going to be a significant ownership discount. It looks like it still might be about half of what Jefferson is. Thielen's still 7,200, so he's definitely not free. We're just getting in trouble with salary a little bit here. So let's try a Thielen mini with Ayuk. So that gets us to 5,600. And then we got some 4 p.m. players here. What else are you guys thinking? Family Man says, I love Gronk. Double tight end and Kittle. Ooh, I don't know about that. I like the Javonte call, Alex. I think Javonte is like an interesting pivot if we're going like super cheap at running back. And this is a build where we really need that, right? So flex now we got 5,500. What does that leave us with? Can we get a mini on the other side? Probably not. So then we're looking at like Darius Slayton, Dontrell Hilliard. I hate playing both of those guys together, but we could. We go Van Jefferson in there, which I don't hate at 5,400. Those are kind of the guys that you're in on. We could just add Tyler Johnson to this. The triple stack. I don't hate that idea. That's probably what I would do. Depending on the field size, I would probably just add Ty Johnson to that. He's probably not projecting super well. But man, that's a pretty nice price. If he gets a deep one. So that's kind of how I would do it. If I'm breaking ties in favor of correlation, I'd just probably add Tyler Johnson to that. Obviously, you'd want to move this stuff around so the most expensive players in the flex, all that good stuff. But you see how gross it has to get quickly to play Brady with the JT bringback. It's not easy. Robbie, maybe. I don't mind the MVS thing. I always like MVS at like super low ownership like we got last week. Jay Mitchell, what a guy. What's up, Jay? Hope your Thanksgiving was great, my man. He says smash the like button. That will help more people find the show. That I can guarantee you. It's literally how it works. Let's spin the wheel a couple more times here because I do want to give away that Saquon jersey. Next week, I think we're going to have 2 wheels. That's such a great idea, Mancini. Thank you for that. We'll have a live wheel and a historical wheel, whatever we want to call it. We'll always spin this one first. Jay Donnelly, are you here? I'm going to keep spinning. I got some feedback that these were taking too long, so I want to make sure that we move through it as quick as possible. D. Percival. Wait, Joey is here? 2 wheels is better than 1. Joey Donnelly is here. Joey Donnelly. Are you here, Joey Donnelly? Yes. Saquon Barkley jersey. We finally gave something away. Congrats, man. That's awesome. Hit me up in the Discord or somewhere so we can make sure we get that to you, man. Perfect. Swaggy says that I talked him into CMC. CMC is a great play. CMC's a great play. I'm glad I talked you into it. Let's close this poll. Let's move on to some cheaper wide receiver options. Like, I guess, like, top underpriced options. Because I don't love a lot of the punt wide receivers today. Yeah, congrats, Joey. Let's go, man. The Saquon jersey, I've been holding on to that one for a while. Top underpriced wide receiver week 12. Brandon Cooks, Jerry Judy, Jacoby Myers, Michael Pittman, Brandon Ayuk, or other. Where are we at on the cheaper, I guess the underpriced side of wide receiver? Because we're going to have to find probably one of these guys, at least fall in love with one of these guys today. Because it's not easy to get some of these studs in. That's for sure. Exclamation point, vote. Space the number to place your vote. Sub-only vote. Hit that subscribe button. All that good stuff. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the Thanksgiving content. We did a bunch of recording earlier in the day, and then some news broke, so did the best I could to edit some of that stuff. But not the best situation to try and get out a bunch of content before I had to leave for 2 full days. This slate is always one of the more fun slates of the year, though, because I feel like everyone is scrambling a little bit. So like some of like the cool like value plays like getting a little bit inflated just because like people are scrambling. So you can find a lot of people just like cling on to these plays, and especially on a slate like this where there's definitely some ambiguity to like, sure, like we're just talking about the point per dollar stuff. A guy that's like a 2.4x point per dollar versus like a 2.1x, but significantly lower ownership. Like guys, like any of these inputs are not perfect. It's why we like potential. That's why we use the Sims. It's why we use ceiling projections, range of outcomes to make decisions versus just like this guy's projected for one more point. Like that'll get you into trouble. Reeves is the man, did like every game. Reeves is confirmed the man for us. He spent like an hour and a half with me in order to get like those 4 videos out because we did do the main slate video as well. How does Judy do in The Sims? Good question. Let's check that out. The cheaper wide receivers. Pittman is like kind of the optimal sim cheap wide receiver, or cheaper, 6,600. He's, I mean, not cheap, but 13% for Pittman. We've got Jamison Crowder popping a little bit at that super cheap price point. In that game, that's interesting. So actually, don't think that's the worst with Corey Davis out. What we got? I haven't seen any of these Denver guys yet. Javonte actually at 6%. Oh man, this is rough. Jerry Judy, 6%. So maybe at this point, Jerry Judy might be a fade at 6,100 if he's going to be owned at 15%. Maybe you just fire at someone in this same range, like an Elijah Moore at the same optimal rate, but a 15th of the ownership. Like those are the kind of things you want to look for, those price pivots. Not even necessarily leverage. It's more of just like a price pivot, right? Ayuk, Debo, Jimmy G stack. Yeah, I think it's great, Steve. Is it a sign for me to play Saquon today? Maybe, Joey. Could be. Could be. Harris is on Judy. Yeah, that's true, Flash. It's a good point. I don't look at that stuff very often, but I'll admit at the tail, sometimes it matters. Ramsey is going to do everything they can to stop Devonte Adams. I mean, a lot of people try and stop Devonte Adams, don't they? You're probably right, though. Like I said, I prefer CMC in that range anyway. Hey, Joe, which wide receiver to own from the Titans? Man, I'm like trying to avoid the Titans thing. I just like don't think there's really much there for us from a fantasy perspective. I really don't. If I had to pick one, I don't know. I'd probably just be trying to catch some ceiling from a guy like Des Fitzpatrick. Something like that. I mean, we've done the Westbrook Akine before. I just don't think he's very good. Tyrod Cook stack looks good. Yeah, I think that's true. The Tyrod Cook stack is interesting just because we know where the ball is going to go. And it's a decent situation for that game. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to approach that Jets and Houston game, to be completely honest. I would have preferred to have had like that really cheap mini stack if it was going to be lower owned than it's going to be today. Ayuk's getting some love here, though. That's interesting. No one wants to play Jacoby Myers still. OBJ versus Van. Yeah, let's check out some of those secondary wide receiver options for the Rams here. So if we're not playing Cooper Kupp today. Ooh. Darrell Henderson, 5%. Man, the Sims do not like Van Jefferson, 5. Tyler Higbee, 5. Odell, significantly lower in the Sims, 3%. 3% for Odell versus Van. But trying to grab pieces of that offense for a little bit cheaper, I think makes sense for sure. But yeah, Cooper Kupp and everyone else, not super shocking, but yeah, you got to pay for it. I'm a younger, better-looking Pete Postlethwaite, flower shop guy from the town. Pete Postlethwaite. I got to Google this. Pete Postlethwaite. Do I actually look like this guy? I don't know what to say. Do I look like this guy? Younger, better-looking version of Pete Postlethwaite. I mean, this guy's probably mega loaded, so tough to take too much offense, I guess. I don't know. He's not a bad-looking guy when he was younger. Tough scene. Frost. Thank you for that super chat, my man. I know you don't normally look at this stuff, but Vikings' entire D-line is out. 49ers are going to move the ball. Vikings got to throw. Dude, I love that game. And this is not a bias because I just stacked up the Vikings game last week. I legitimately love that game. Thank you for that super chat, my man. That reminds me, I should probably touch on... People are like, what are we talking about in the chat? Scroll up. Someone said I looked like that guy. I don't know. Let's touch on a couple of the community lineups for the tier 2s and tier 3s quickly, because we haven't done any of those yet. First one I see. Mikey Boy. He's got a Stafford stack. So we got Stafford, Kupp, and then we got a Odell Beckham. Bring back with Devonte Adams. So we got the premium LA Rams Green Bay stack here. I don't mind that. What else we got in here? We got Pittman, Leonard Fournette mini. I like that. And then we got a Dan Arnold one-off and a Javonte one-off. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. This is kind of like you're obviously taking some big stands here by not having CMC and not having some of the mid-range running backs. But yeah, I mean, getting in Kupp and Adams with a Stafford build, I think this is where it makes a lot of sense. I think that's fine. King's got a similar Stafford stack where we have the cheaper options from that game. So we've got Stafford with Higbee, bringing it back, or with Higbee and OBJ, bringing it back with MVS. So this is like the perfect build to show. The inverse of this build, because then that allows you to get up to some of these higher end running backs. Aaron Jones, if he plays, is going to be like 2%. But Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, and Debo. So there's still a lot of firepower to this team if you're willing to take that stand and fade Devonte Adams and Cooper Kupp. It's kind of a sharp way to go about this, King. I don't mind that. Let's do one more of these. Frost got a Burrow stack. Hey, we probably haven't talked about the Burrow stacks enough. I like the Burrow stacks today, Frost. Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Higgins. We got the Cincinnati onslaught. We got bringbacks with Najee and Deontay. This literally looks like my team last week, Frost. So in a smaller field tournament, yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to say you're going a direction that I wouldn't go myself because I basically just did this last week. MVS one-off, Dallas Goddard. So you're leveraging all the Devontae people with the MVS. You're leveraging all the MVS or all the Miles Sanders people with Dallas Goddard, who we already talked about as being a really strong play at tight end. And then Chargers D is probably fit. I like this, man. I don't think many people are going to play Najee Harris. Like that could be one of the ones that tomorrow when we're talking through this, we wish we would have had more of. If you're going to be stacking up this Pittsburgh game, I mean, I definitely prefer the Cincy side. I know some people have been talking about Big Ben and all of that. Like I don't know if I can stomach that one myself. I like this one for us. This is like going to look like it's too much to most people, but I would say if you're playing something very small, like this is an interesting build. All right, let's close this poll. Let's head over to tight end. Top tight end today, price considered. George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Rob Gronkowski, Dallas Goedert, Freiermuth. I never really feel like I say his name right, but I always throw a good attempt. That's the best I got. I will remind you guys that we will be giving away a $20 Amazon gift card. If you participate in these polls, you'll be entered into that drawing. We'll be spinning the wheel for that here at the end of the show. And then we still have a Lamar Jackson I always forget what it's called, Funko Pop to give away, and then a Brandon Ayuk jersey. So we'll be spinning the wheel a couple times here. And then the Twitter. So there are 80 retweets on this currently. 80 retweets on this currently. And if a quarterback under 75 or 7,500 or below on FanDuel is the highest scoring quarterback on the slate, I'll be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card winner to someone that follows me and also has retweeted this. So at Joe Holka on Twitter, very easy to find. Where we at on tight end? George Kittle, 9 votes so far. Guzzy, just so you know, my man, you got to go vote 6, enter, and then put Jared Cook on the next line, or for some reason it won't take your vote. Freiermuth or Claypool popping the Sims more? Let's look. Jersey Jinx, thank you for subscribing to the channel, my man. Hang on. Before I get to your question, Justin, I've completely dropped the ball on some of the new subscribers today. Jai Large, new subscriber. Lenny Ray Matthews, new subscriber. B. Gelzer. Daniel Bayless. Doug D. Donovan Smith. Ryan Williams. Barlack. Dion Gladney. Shannon Suber. Bunch of new subscribers today, guys. Thank you so much for that. Jersey Jinx recently as well. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all that support. We're almost to 16.5K subscribers on the YouTube channel. So maybe the goal was to get to 20K by the end of the year, but we'll see. The one thing that makes me really happy though, guys, you guys remember on some of the videos I was talking about how almost half of you guys weren't subscribed that were watching the videos. We've really improved that. I think it's like 63% of the people that are watching my videos are also subscribed now. That's like a big difference. So I know I've been like giving you guys crap about that, but I do appreciate it. If you've been here for a while checking out the content, it does help me kind of push this thing forward. So what we got? Rob Gronkowski, Dallas Goddard, Freiermuth, pretty similar. So let's check that in the Sims, the Pittsburgh guys. If we're going secondary, if we're going non-Deontay, Pittsburgh. Non-Najee, I guess I could say as well. So Freiermuth, 7.9% in the optimal rate. I like the Freiermuth play a lot today. Touchdown score. Another one of those teams too. So they're not in the top 8 in pass rate above expectation over the last 4, but they're actually the 3rd highest pass rate above expectation in the red zone over the season, right? So Ben's not afraid to try and hit Freiermuth in the red zone. So I like that play on FanDuel specifically for trying to get access to that game. Jamar Young, thank you for subscribing. PDX, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you guys. Any reason RTS doesn't show projected ownership? It does. We literally just showed it. Look, right here. Project owned. Oh, we got ownership, my man. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Mike Dagger, new subscriber. Mason DePoli. All I got to do is ask you guys to do it, and you do it. Man. Oh, your RTS doesn't show projected ownership. Try clearing your cache. Normally that works for me and stuff like that. How do we become a tier 2 or tier 3 member? There's a link in the description, my man. Very easy. Or hit that join button. There's got to be a join button, I think, somewhere if you're watching this. That'll get you access to Discord and all that stuff, my man. All right, so let's close this one up. This is one of my favorite polls. Actually, let's save this next poll for after we spin the wheel. Should we do the Ayuk jersey or the Lamar little figurine thing? I'll leave it up to you guys. Got the Ayuk jersey or this little Lamar. This little guy. Look at this thing. What are we giving away? Crowbar says Ayuk jersey. Ayuk, Lamar, Ayuk. All right, we're doing the Ayuk one. We're spinning this wheel. Let's do it. Brandon Ayuk signed jersey from Pristine Auction. If you are just trickling in, there is a link in the description if you want to get involved in these polls. Takes 2 seconds, free to enter. BP Montanga. Are you here? I'm going to keep spinning. I'm like taking a note. I'll keep spinning. What we got? Zap Baseball. Are you here? For the Ayuk jersey. Keep spinning. Daniel figured it out. Welcome to Tier 1, my man. Appreciate all the support. AU Jersey, who's it going to be? Chip Segra. Next week, we're definitely going to have like a live wheel, and like we'll call this the historical wheel. Awesome, Daniel. Thanks so much for that support, man. There's tons of conversation happening in the Discord, man. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Lots of really sharp people in there. Cade Lock 35. Are you here? Yeah, I forgot about that, Jeff. 50 free bucks on Pristine auction on Black Friday. Hopefully you guys got that email and used it. Luke Dodd 08. Are you here, Luke? I thought I saw Luke earlier. We're going to spin it one more time, and then we're going to head back over. We got to talk some stacks next. That's my favorite poll of the entire day. I know. There's a lot of people that have just got in for the free stuff, family man. But they haven't been here, apparently, on Sundays. MS Chop. All right, we'll have to go back to the wheel. Let's go, let's do this poll, though. Top game stack. Week 12, main slate. Minnesota at San Francisco. New York Giants. New York Jets at Houston. Pittsburgh at Cincy. Philly at New York Giants. Tampa Bay at Indy or other. Exclamation point, vote, space, the number, sub, only vote. You guys know the drill at this point. Favorite stack today. Who is it? Who is it? Take a step back for a sec. Tier 2s and Tier 3s, toss some lineups if you want me to review them quickly. We only have a couple more, I think, to go through today. Maybe we'll build another one here shortly as well. Minnesota at San Francisco. I'm a little bit nervous about ownership in this game. Is it our bubble that just likes this game a lot, or are a lot of people talking about this game? That's what I'm most curious about. I don't want to flip the cards over and have like the really chalky game stack. So like this game versus Pitt Cincy. You guys think that Pitt Cincy is significantly lower owned? It's always tough to get a feel for ownership on this week because so much changes and it's always so condensed for the main slate stuff. Jay Mitchell, people are so lame. It's all good, man. Our show starts pretty early compared to a lot of other ones, right? I like being early. I like to have like plenty of time. We're not rushed. We can go through the positions, like breaking news comes through, whatever. We'll always push you guys over to Pete or Sal after. They go a little bit later than us. Dalvin Cook is the pivot to the chalky Minnesota wide receivers. I don't think the wide receivers are going to be chalky at all, Jamie. Nobody was talking about the Minnesota-San Francisco game. Everyone's talking about Tampa Bay Indy. We're going Hurts. Oh, so Hurts is going to be a little more popular than I thought maybe. Okay. Pitt Cincy will be lower owned. That's kind of what I thought, Josh. So off the Vikings. Feels like Cousins is due for an absolute egg. That could be. I mean, there's paths to that game being terrible, for sure. For it just being very slow-paced. Exactly what Derek just said in the chat. It could be our bubble. Yeah, I guess I'm a sucker for these really condensed offenses against bad defenses. I don't know. San Francisco plays too slow. True, but how efficient are they also matters. And they're going to have a pretty high chance to be efficient against this Minnesota defense right now. And we know they can break tackles, break big plays, all of that stuff. Brady revenge for Deflategate? You think Brady still cares about Deflategate? Maybe. San Francisco, Minnesota has a lot more lower priced options, so there may be a lot of mini stacks instead of main stacks. Alex, I think that partially is true. I think there's some expensive weapons in there too. I think what you said that makes a lot of sense, though, is I think most people aren't going to want to click Kirk, aren't going to want to pick click Garoppolo. So maybe it is a lot of mini stacks. I think that could be true. Brady revenge narrative. Man, how much revenge could Brady have at this point? Hold'em Ham, hungover listening in. This flight's gonna be brutal. Oh man, there's nothing worse than traveling hungover. I'm glad that I got my hungover travel out of the way yesterday. I can't imagine what it's like in the airports today. This is like pretty much probably when most people are coming home from Thanksgiving, right? Vikings defense giving up the most DFS points to quarterback the past 4 weeks. Interesting. Jimmy G is too cheap, confirmed. We do have some love for this Tampa Bay game. It is significantly high in terms of the total. So I'm with you guys. I do like the Tampa Bay Indy. We already built one of those. Let's build one of those Vikings stacks. Let's see what it looks like. I do want to start doing a little bit more building. So let's go over. This is the listener league. If you guys aren't in here, get in there. Rake free. FanDuel.com/Holka. All that good stuff. It probably won't even come close to filling today since it went up so much later in the week. So free money. This turns into like a double up with upside unless we fill this thing up, right? So it's definitely a good spot. Okay, so let's try and do a game stack of Mini and San Francisco. So let's go Jimmy G. Let's go Debo. Let's go Ayuk. And let's toss Kittle in there for now. So basically now we can decide if we want to bring it back with Jefferson, if we want to bring it back with Jefferson and Dalvin. I always kind of hate burning all of my slots at the wide receiver position, but it is something that we could consider doing on this one. What do you guys think? It is a 4 p.m. game, which is also nice. I like that. So if we were to just go Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle like we have here, I do want to try and see if we can get up to Jefferson. If we don't, though, I think we could potentially just put Dalvin on the other side of this, right? So at that point, we're probably looking at, let's just go ahead and throw Cincy in there for now, just because it's an easy placeholder. So we can probably try and find something in the morning that we like in terms of a mini stack. So we could consider, like the other route that I had talked about was not going Jimmy G, not going Kittle, doing a pretty significant mini stack here with Hurts and Goddard, which I don't hate. Do we want to go the Miles Sanders route on this team, though, just to save some salary? Is there a Giants player that we like? I don't know. I kind of just want to put Miles Sanders in there for a little bit of salary relief. So 7,500 the rest of the way. What's a Pittsburgh? Can we get Chase in this team? You're going to have to spell Chase right, Joe. There we go. Chase, and then are we able to get... Yes, we can get Deontay. What do you guys think about like a Chase Deontay at 1 p.m. with Miles Sanders? So what we get here is we get the information from Deontay, who's going to be a little bit higher owned. We get the information from Miles Sanders, who's going to be a little bit higher owned. But I don't think Chase is going to be that heavily owned in that same game. So we get that info. And then I guess we already have Cincy defense in here, though. Can we get up to anything else? Indy against Tampa Bay, probably not going that direction. Miami against Carolina, maybe. We could go to Claypool here and just play like the lower owned mini stack. Then we got 4,100 to work with. So that's a little bit more palatable for sure. We could get up to, at that point, we could get up to Green Bay. A lot of pass attempts on the other side, most likely. We could get up to Tampa Bay. Philly's like just out of reach, unfortunately. If we wanted to move down at running back, we could do that. We could move down from Miles Sanders to Javonte, who I feel like we've been probably putting in a little bit too much. I'm not like all in on Javonte or anything like that. I do like the idea of the mini stack with Claypool and Chase, though. I think that's pretty sharp. We could add Jefferson to this as well. So let's see what happens if we put Sanders and Jefferson in. And then we can put Cincy back in here. That gets our flex to 6,900. Nice. A.J. Dillon, if we get no Aaron Jones. DJ Moore, who's going to be completely unowned at 1 p.m. Michael Pittman as a one-off. I just don't like playing chalky one-offs typically. We could just play a one-off Chase Claypool against the Cincinnati defense. Or at that point, we can just move up at defense, right? To like Green Bay or something like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do. Like, look at all this firepower we have if we're willing to play a Jimmy G at 6,500. That's like the main point I'm trying to make here. Melvin Gordon revenge game. I guess, yeah, I didn't consider that. Melvin Gordon revenge game. Yeah, I don't know. All this Javonte talk, I might just be like talking myself into it. Mike Williams, that would have been, I think he's going to be low. Can we do a Tyrod stack? We could. Yeah, Josh, for sure. Definitely make sure you have your highest salary player in the afternoon in your flex. Because if you have to late swap, you're going to need that flexibility. Let's talk about some late swap options. That's something that I always think is valuable to touch on towards the end of the show as well. So the games, obviously only 3 of them. Chargers, Broncos, Rams, Packers, Vikings, 49ers. So in terms of leverage that we're looking at here, I think that if Aaron Jones doesn't play, I'm going to find a way to play some A.J. Dillon teams. I think Adam Thielen is going to provide a decent amount of leverage in that Minnesota and San Francisco game. All those guys we just talked about, Adam Thielen's like the easiest one to like skip over. I actually don't hate Melvin Gordon for leverage if you're in some trouble. So I think that would be a late swap I would consider. But I think both the Minnesota guys are going to be decent late swap options. I really do. At least the way ownership's looking like right now. But yeah, if Aaron Jones is active, yeah, I mean, he's going to be like 1% at 7K. No one's going to leave that salary open in the flex. So like there's a lot of firepower in the afternoon. That's kind of part of the reason I like the Jimmy G stuff as well. Because if like I don't hit on something in the morning, I can pivot to some of those lower on pieces anyways. So in the morning, if I'm going to take some shots, what's our leverage at 1 p.m.? I think our leverage is probably Jonathan Taylor, because I don't think people are going to honestly, like maybe even after that 5 touchdowns, people will go there. I don't think it's going to be that popular of a move to make. I think people are going to play CMC instead. Same, I guess you can probably make that same argument for Najee Harris though in the morning. So those type of players I think will be a little bit lower than they should for sure in the morning. I talked about Claypool, Jamar Chase, that mini stack. I think it's interesting if we wanted to go to Saquon Barkley and just hope that he's a little bit more healthy than people think. Taking shots with guys like that early is something that I would like to do, at least with my Jimmy G teams. How do you join the Discord? So the Discord is for the members. So if you hit that join button, it'll give you all your options, my man. How do we find your league on FanDuel? FanDuel.com/Holka. Very easy to get in, my man. The link's always the same, which is nice. All right. Let's close this poll. We still have to give away that jersey, so let's keep spinning the wheel. We're going to change this up next week for sure. We'll have a live wheel to spin. This is for the Ayuk jersey. We Cisco. WWE Cisco. Are you here? The Brandon Ayuk signed jersey. Mini wheel time. I think what I'm going to do, if this continues, I do have a wheel ready from the people that have been voting in the polls today. Scotty, I mean, we talk about the players in general. So, yeah, we're focused on FanDuel for sure. But I think a lot of the stuff we talk about is, I mean, even if you're playing season long, it's good information. RS Peters. Are you here, RS Peters? Every time you spin, I lose connectivity. Is that true? That's weird. All right, we have had a bunch of people vote today. So let's do that. We're pivoting on the fly. So if you have voted today, you are in this list. I'm tired of spinning the wheel and someone not being here. So this is going to be different next week. All right. This one only has a few hundred people in it. So let's go ahead and do this. Brandon Ayuk jersey. If you were here today and you're voting, you're going to get a better chance at these now. Hopefully they're still here. Dan Hodgkins, are you here? Dan Hodgkins. The Brandon Ayuk jersey. Frost, it happens to me. That is wild. I didn't realize that I can't even think of one reason why that would make you disconnect. Dan Hodgkins, are you here? We got people leaving here too. Let's keep spinning. Doesn't happen to Brady though. Weird. How do you enter the giveaway? There's a link in the description for that also, my man. JR, are you here? JR Heineke. J.R. Heineke. I'm going to spin this a little faster. We got to get back to the good stuff. Hope to win. Hope to win. You were here before. I remember seeing your name. We might have to retire the wheel today. We are wearing out the wheel. Derek Kohler, letting me know that he's still here. Love it. Hopefully we pick you, man. Family Man. You know Family Man's here. There it is, man. There it is. Family Man. Brandon Ayuk jersey. Boom. Let's go. All right. Let's go ahead and since we're here, let's give away the Lamar thing as well. Since we, I don't want to spend too much more time on the wheel today. Congrats, Family Man. Hope to win is here. Oh. Hope to win was here. So let's do this, guys. So Hope to win is also here. So Hope to win and Family Man. Which one would you guys rather have between the Lamar and the Ayuk? Both of you guys. We'll do a random number generator for this since it was my screw up. Random number generator. Which one would you guys rather have? The Lamar or the Ayuk jersey? And JR is also here too. Cool. All of you guys. JR was... When was JR's? We're going to have to look at that. What would you guys rather have? Hope is here too? Yeah, Hope to win. Those are the three, right? Hope to win, Family Man. Family Man. We'll do a 3-man one. We'll do a 3-man wheel. How about that? What was the other one? Hope to win, Family Man. Mikey Boy was too, because I guess spin it, so we're going to put him in there too. Mikey Boy. Let's see. And J.R. Heineke is in here too. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to go to a secondary wheel. J.R. We're going to do this on the fly. Heineke. Okay. Hope to win. J.R. Heineke, Family Boy, Mikey Boy. Or Family Man, Mikey Boy. Those are the ones, right? Hope to win was the winner. I kept spinning it though, so we're going to do the smallest wheel in history right now. We got a 4-man wheel. The Wheel of Destiny. Look at this thing. How much different does this thing look? Hope to win did win first. But this wheel has just been a joke today. So, all right. This one will be for the Ayuk jersey. We're already off the rails today, though, because it was technically supposed to be the big wheel, right? J.R. Heineke, the Ayuk jersey. Ayuk. The Lamar. Bobble. Who's it going to be? Oh. Mikey Boy. So for the other two guys, we're going to figure something out. We'll do some sort of gift card, or if I have to get you guys something from Pristine Auction, I'll do that since it was my screw up. So all 4 of you guys, Hope to win, Family Man, Mikey Boy, and J.R. Heineke. Send me something in Discord. We'll figure this out later. You're not going to leave with nothing since it was my screw up. God, the wheel, man. The wheel will get you every time. All right. So make sure all of you guys message me, okay? All 4 of you guys. We'll make that work. All right. Let's do the Amazon gift card giveaway. We got to put the wheel, all the people back in the wheel. This is for the $20 Amazon gift card wheel. Boom. All good, Family Man. I feel bad that I kept spinning that wheel and all you guys were here and I didn't see it. I got a lot of stuff going on. Hope to win. There you go. Hope to win wins the Amazon gift card. There we go. All the wheel never lies, right? When Hope to win deserves something, he wins it. All right. So you got the Amazon gift card, and then we'll figure out whatever. We'll figure something out with Pristine Auction too. I got to talk to those guys tomorrow anyway. I will hook you up. Can't confirmed. I will hook you up. All right. What does this poll look like? We finished the poll. So we got that. Got that. Guys, I think we're in good shape here. We're in good shape. How's everyone feeling about the slate? I'll try and answer a couple more questions here before we get out of here, and then I'll move you guys over to Peter. Pete's got to be live.
Have been diving.
Indeed. Solid delay on your side. Yeah, so I could, here's the thing. I could switch it to super low latency Frost, and then I would see you guys honestly like every couple seconds. But then more people are going to get it to buffer on their side because it's a little bit harder on, like, if you're watching on a computer, if you're watching on, like, your internet is a little bit more important at that point. So I had the one that's like a 5 to 6 second delay or something like that. Let's see some more lineups, try and decide who to play. There's a couple more tier 2 and tier 3 lineups in here, so let's touch on that quickly. Hugo all day 22. This is a Jimmy G team. Jimmy G, Debo, Kittle, bring it back with Jefferson and Cook. I mean, I like that build a lot. You could even add Ayuk to that if you wanted to, but you chose to do a Dan Arnold in the flex, which is probably not something I would do. I'll say that. I would prefer just to try and figure out a way to find a cheaper guy there. Higgins and Mixon together, just playing that Cincy side. Probably wouldn't play that with Bengals defense as well. So I think that this is a little bit thin on some of the value stuff that you did. So what I would consider here is maybe moving off of Mixon at 8K and trying to figure out a way to have some sort of other mini stack that wouldn't be against my defense and force me to play another tight end. Brandon Ricker, Carson Wentz. No one's talking about Carson Wentz today. That's true. There should be a lot of pass attempts on that side of the ball, I would think. So we got Wentz, Pittman, mini stack, or a single stack with Godwin on the other side. And then we have a Cook and Debo. A lot of upside there with Cook and Debo. We have Mixon, one-off, which I like. I mean, you're going to get a decent amount of leverage with Mixon today, I think. And then the Dan Arnold, Russell Gage. I think this is how it, like the lineup that we just looked at before, Hugo, I think this is kind of what you're looking at, right? If you're playing Dan Arnold, maybe doing with like a really cheap mini stack like this. I think that makes sense for sure. Eric got 2 King of the Beach qualifier entries, 75 of 250 get through. We'll be grinding the chat for alpha. That's over on Peter's stream. I thought that was our chat. Like I said, I got too much stuff going on. All right. Anything else in the chat, guys? I don't know what I'm going to do today. I have a few hours still. This is true. We do have a few hours still. Can't confirm.
Into it last night.
All right. You guys ever seen this goofball? Pete's the man. So I'm going to move you guys over to Pete now. You guys know the drill. Spam the chat with We Are Backs. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. Appreciate all you guys being with us. Get in the Listener League if you haven't already. Let's fill that thing up a little bit more than it is right now. Go spam Pete. Pete only has 164 people watching him. Pete is very entertaining, obviously. Pete is also one of the better DFS players I know. Like, real talk. He doesn't get near enough. I don't think he gets near enough credit for how good of a player he is these days. So yeah, we'll see you guys on the Tiltspace later on tonight on the ETR channel. Go give Pete some love. I'm seeing some We Are Backs in here. Let's get Pete let's get Pete to 250. Can we do that? We got over 500 people in here. So if you toss a like on this video, some people will probably find it later on, but let's see how many people we can move over to Pete's chat. Can we do that? We're breaking 200. Let's go to 250. Can we do that? 250? All you have to do is click that link. Hang out with Pete for a little bit. You won't be sorry. Let's have an absolute day. I love that. 210. A lot of We Are Backs. Love it. I love you guys always just asking for him to acknowledge us.
We have just enough ambiguity in the reports.
214, 215. Go say hi to Pete. At least stop by and say hi. We still got over 400 people in this chat. Let's go say hi to Pete. 219, 225. We're almost there.
And I see, thank you. The Holka crew is here. I see you.
Yes.
I hear you. Thank you guys for joining us.
He sees us. This is good. 237. Let's get to 250.
On Aaron Jones not playing is because I think there's some fairly good.
Let's crush it today, guys.
There. I think you
238.
can go to Darrell Henderson, who for some reason no one wants to play.
234. We got
Doesn't
people
look like
leaving
at
Pete's stream. Come on.
For some reason, I think people have been a little spooked by him,
236.
but a lot of the usage, Gretsch wrote it up in stealing signals.
242. We're almost there.
He also left
If anyone's
the game
still out there on the
partially,
stream listening to
I
this
think,
right
with
now,
an
go say
injury,
hi to
that
Pete.
led to Sony Michel having a higher snap rate. So I'm not
More
really
links in the
concerned
chat.
about
249,
Henderson.
250. We did it.
I
All right.
think
Best of
that
luck, guys. I'll see you guys later today.
Kind of operate as their lead.